What if I told you that the best way to practice a new skill actually feels slow and frustrating? I know, it sounds completely backward, but today we're going to dive into a learning method that is so counterintuitive, yet it's one of the most powerful tools out there. So this whole thing kicks off with a pretty wild statistic. Picture this. A group of college baseball players improves their hitting by 215% more than their teammates. And they did it just by changing how they practiced. 215%. I mean, you'd think they'd found some secret magic formula, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Of course, there's a catch. And it's a huge one. It's the reason most people give up on this method way before they ever see those incredible results. And here it is, the big paradox. That group with the massive improvement, during practice, they struggled more, they missed more pitches, and they felt like they were getting worse. How on earth is that even possible? How can feeling like you're failing lead to such huge success? Well, it's all possible because there are two totally different ways to structure your practice, what we call blocked practice and interleaved practice. And understanding the difference between these two, well, that's the key to this whole thing. So blocked practice is what we all do naturally. You drill one thing over and over. If you're at the plate, it's all fastballs. Then you switch. Now it's all curveballs. It feels good, right? You get into a rhythm, you feel like you're crushing it. But interleaved practice, it just chucks that whole idea out the window. It mixes everything up. Fastball, curveball, changeup, fastball. You never know what's coming. This chaos forces your brain to constantly slam on the brakes, figure out the new problem, and pull the right solution from memory every single time. Now, this isn't just some theory. It all comes from a classic study from 1978 by two researchers, Kerr and Booth. They took a bunch of college baseball players and split them in two. Group 1 did blocked practice, fastballs, then curveballs, then changeups. Group 2 got the exact same number of pitches, but in a totally random, mixed-up, interleaved order. And the results? They were absolutely stunning. During practice, the blocked group looked like superstars. They were hitting about 57% of the pitches. And the interleaved group, well, they looked awful, only hitting about 25%. But then they brought everyone back for a surprise test later, and everything flipped. The blocked group's performance completely cratered, down to just 20%. But the interleaved group, the ones who felt like they were failing, their performance skyrocketed to 56%. That is the 215% advantage right there. So the huge question is why? Why is that struggle so much more productive? Why does feeling worse in the moment lead to getting so much better later on? Well, the answer is all about what's going on inside your brain. It all comes down to this amazing concept called desirable difficulty. It's the idea that making learning feel harder, adding a little friction, is actually what makes the learning stick. It feels slower, but it's forging deeper, more durable connections. And interleaving is like the poster child for desirable difficulty. Think of it like a mental workout. Every time a new pitch comes in, an interleaved brain has to do three things. First, it has to discriminate. It has to ask, okay, what is this? Fastball? Curveball. Then it has to retrieve the correct plan of action, like pulling the right recipe from a cookbook. In blocked practice, you skip those first two steps entirely. You just load the fastball recipe once, and you're good to go. That constant cycle of discriminating and retrieving is the hard work that builds real, flexible skill. Researchers Kornell and Bjork put it perfectly. They said, in interleaved practice, you learn how to distinguish type A from type B from type C and how to solve each type. And that's the key. Blocked practice only teaches you the how to solve part, but interleaving teaches you the much more important real-world skill of figuring out what kind of problem you're even facing in the first place. And hey, don't get hung up on the baseball example. This is not just the sports thing, not even close. A big study in 2007 found the same thing with math students. The kids who interleaved their problem sets scored 50 to 100% better on their final tests. It works for learning music, for learning languages, for pretty much anything where you have to recognize a pattern and then apply the right solution. Okay, this is a seriously powerful idea. So how can we actually put it to work? Let's build a super simple playbook that you can start using for your own learning, like today. It's really just 3 easy steps. First, pick 3 or more related skills you want to work on. Maybe 3 different math formulas or 3 different guitar chords. Second, instead of drilling them one by one, just mix them all up in one big practice session. And third, this is a real pro tip, before you even try to solve one, say out loud what kind of problem it is. Okay, this is a quadratic equation. Just that simple act of naming it forces your brain to do that critical discrimination work. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so is blocked practice just totally useless? Should I never do it again? And the answer is no, not at all. It definitely has its place. You want to use blocked practice in a few very specific situations. Like if you are an absolute, total beginner, you might need a few blocked reps just to get the hang of the basic motion. Or if you're just cramming for a test that's tomorrow and you only care about short-term performance, blocking works. And of course, if the skills are totally unrelated, like, say, French vocabulary and basketball free throws, there's really nothing to interleave anyway. So here it is, the big red flag to take away from all this. If you're in a practice session and everything feels smooth and easy and you're getting everything right, you should be suspicious. You might just be building what's called false fluency, this dangerous illusion of mastery that feels great in the moment but completely vanishes when you're put to the test. And that really leaves us with one last big question to ask ourselves. The next time you sit down to learn something and it all feels a little too easy, a little too smooth, stop for a second and ask, are you building temporary performance? Or are you doing the hard, frustrating, desirable work of building real, lasting mastery?